For over a century, humans have solved heat the same way every single time. Build a machine that pulls warm air out and pumps cold air in. Every air conditioner ever built, from the first units in the 1900s to the one humming outside your window right now, works on that same basic principle. It has never really changed. But here is the part almost nobody thinks about. The machine that cools your home is also heating the planet around it. Every air conditioner dumps its extracted heat straight back into the outside air, and the electricity needed to run it overwhelmingly comes from burning fossil fuels. Cooling systems account for close to 20% of all the electricity used inside buildings worldwide, roughly 7% of all global electricity consumption. Buildings themselves are responsible for around 40% of the world's total energy use and about 36% of global carbon emissions. The machine built to fight the heat is quietly making the underlying problem worse. So when researchers in China developed a material that cools a building without using a single watt of electricity, without a compressor, without a fan, without anything plugged in at all, it broke a rule that has held for over 100 years of engineering. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly how a coating you can paint onto a wall is starting to compete with the air conditioner sitting in your window right now. If the idea of a material that cools itself down in direct sunlight, using nothing but physics, sounds like the kind of thing worth understanding properly, hit subscribe now, because this channel breaks down exactly these kinds of quiet engineering shifts before most people have even heard of them. A-like also helps this video reach more people who genuinely find this interesting, and this is one of those stories that deserves it. Let's get into how this actually works. To understand why this material matters, you need to understand a strange fact about the sky above you that has been sitting there, unused for the entire history of human civilization. Every surface on Earth that has any heat at all is constantly radiating some of that heat away as infrared radiation, the same invisible wavelength of light that night vision goggles pick up. Normally, most of that radiated heat gets absorbed by the atmosphere and bounced back down, which is part of why nights don't get instantly freezing after sunset. But there is a narrow band of wavelengths between roughly 8 and 13 micrometers, where Earth's atmosphere is essentially transparent. Scientists call this the atmospheric window. Heat radiated at exactly those wavelengths does not get trapped by the atmosphere at all. It travels straight through the sky and radiates out into the cold vacuum of space, which sits at a temperature of roughly minus 270 degrees Celsius. In other words, there has always been a direct, empty pipeline from every rooftop on Earth straight out into one of the coldest places imaginable. The problem was never that this pipeline didn't exist. The problem was that no material could reliably dump heat into it while also surviving direct sunlight, because ordinary dark or even light-colored surfaces absorb far more solar energy during the day than they could ever radiate away through that narrow window. The moment the sun comes up, the heat gained from sunlight overwhelms any radiative cooling effect. That single obstacle is why radiative cooling stayed a laboratory curiosity for decades, while every air conditioner on the planet kept burning electricity to do the job the sky was already willing to do for free. Solving that obstacle meant engineering a surface that could do two very difficult things at the exact same time: reflect almost all incoming sunlight away before it even became heat, while simultaneously radiating any heat that did build up directly into that narrow atmospheric window. Getting either property right on its own is achievable. Getting both at once, reliably, on a surface cheap enough to coat an entire building is where things stayed stuck for years.